Thank you, Maura. So our featured presenters today are the members of Deaf New Americans Advocacy Incorporated. And the mission of Deaf New Americans Advocacy is to create safe spaces for Deaf New Americans that develop education, leadership, and life skills. One of the many projects that they're developing is Asha, Laaya, a completely deaf-run farm. Thank you all for being here with us today, and we're so excited to hear from you. So you all can go ahead and take it away.
No, there's a little interpreting going on. We'll be going from Nepali Sign Language to American Sign Language to speech. So sometimes there may be a little pause. Anyway, so thank you, everyone, for the opportunity for us to present to you today. This is Jay signing in Nepali Sign Language.
Yeah, our journey is definitely not easy. We're still in it right now, but we're making it through. So we're on our way. And Jay's speaking in Nepali Sign Language, so Manu will be interpreting it into ASL for the sign language interpreters. So how Asha, Laaya got started is that we are Deaf New Americans ourselves, and we've all traveled from other countries and immigrated here to Syracuse. And we learned a long time ago
through Salt City Harvest Farm and Rise in the community. We took classes over a 3-year period. And then when we graduated, we felt empowered by that experience to become leaders for our own deaf-run farm. So that's been the empowering experience for us. So Asha, Laaya, we actually didn't know how it was going to go when we started. We're basically learning as we go. We knew a lot, of course, growing up how we did in the country and the terrain and the farming experiences that we had. But coming here to Syracuse, we weren't sure what to expect. We didn't know about financial issues. We didn't know about how to set up a nonprofit, but we were always so positive, and we just kept going. And we took step after step and have had tremendous growth and improvement in a short period of time. We actually were lucky to receive a grant from the Community Foundation for $50,000, which enabled us to get a van, a 15-seat van. The Agriculture Committee, I think Dave over there has been very supportive of us. And so each step has been amazing, and there's been a lot of community support and involvement. So now we're in the middle of our growing season. We're growing cultural, vegetables from our community and culture. And Shimati is adding here.
Yeah, we're really excited that this is the first deaf-led farm. If we're growing a lot of different things and are very excited for our journey and thankful for SOFSA. We're setting up a table that we're really excited about for
a farm to table event.
Yeah,
that's coming up. So this is Manu. Again, I wanted to add also, okay, but Jay is saying something here. So Jay is saying.
So we have set up Asha, Laaya and envisioned this, like what we had originally envisioned was different from our expectations. But now we have CODA children, which is hearing children of deaf adults. And our Deaf New Americans come to our farm with their children. And a lot of the time, these kids are isolated They're not out in the community as much. So we wanted to provide a space to give them some education and balance that with, while they're in the school year, the education portion as well as the hands-on learning portion. So that way we can get that hands-on experience. They can start to learn a little bit of their native language more so, and be able to interact with other kids as well. So communication is a big piece of that. That's part of our goal as the Deaf New American Advocacy Association.
Because these children are going to be the leaders of tomorrow, and we want to make sure that they have access and that they can get the experience and training in equitable farming practices and cultural, and linguistically accessible communication environments. So this empowers them in an environment where, normally they don't have that kind of experience. So to be able to grow, traditional and cultural vegetables. And herbs, sorry. So herbs and vegetables that match the cooking styles that they have at home. So this is really a way for them to feel confident and competent. So we're getting the word out that the deaf community, American community is here, and we have our farm. We're learning every day, and we're on this journey that's actually going very quickly. So we want to get the word out to the community that we're here. What we did do is
we started, we actually have this event on June 25th. And it includes 25 deaf new Americans that have already signed up from other states that are coming to our farm, and we're going to model the experiential learning, take them on a tour of the farm, and kind of get some more opportunities for engagement and interaction with deaf new Americans of different communities. So hopefully that will empower people to kind of get out of the isolation that they can sometimes fall into and possibly make their own farms in other areas.
So are there any questions so far? Are you guys following along? So that means you guys are happy enough?
I'm just pausing to make sure that we have enough time with the interpreters and make sure there was nothing necessarily left out, or if you guys wanted any clarification on anything, please let us know.
We're not hearing them, so are we hearing you guys? Can you hear us? Go on.
I like everything that you're saying to us. Okay. And it's very informative what you folks are going through with your disabilities. That's making you stronger individuals, and also a great help to the outlying city and Onondaga County, and the folks that you have coming to your farm to learn the knowledge that you guys are promoting. And I like that very, very much.
Thank you. Yes. And we wanted also to share that, we do have a vision of where we want to go. So we're going to be setting up cooking classes. Many of our friends who, even in the deaf community, the American deaf community, are saying, we want to learn about how to prepare Nepali food. We're not seeing some of, also we want to see how we can learn to cook through sign language, so we're actually reaching out to American deaf, not just new American deaf. So I think just being able to have the communication access is so key. So we will be trying to set up some cooking classes starting this summer, and our vegetables, which are growing, we hope to sell, and we're going to be using those vegetables in our cooking
to feed local people with fresh food at the farmers market. That's our goal originally.
Right. So Jay is adding.
And we as Deaf New Americans within our organization are full volunteer as of right now. So we do have lots of staff that are just working away 6 days, 7 days a week sometimes. And they're full days working on the farm a lot of the time. So our organization is financially running. I mean, we do have our struggles, but we're not going to give up. And at the same time, we're trying to focus and make sure that our farm is getting the money we need for our ventures, like our van, the insurance, and keeping on top of all those things. So we have a lot of visions and we want to set up a lot of different things, but right now we're just having some barriers to some of our visions.
So the financial barrier is a big one for us. It gets in the way of some of the things we really want to accomplish. So because we are, we hit the ground running, we really are hoping, it was 1 year since we've started the farm. So, those barriers definitely are there. We struggle through them, but despite them, we've done so much. I mean, I think this is what everybody is very impressed with, as we are too. We're kind of shocked and proud of all the things that we were able to accomplish in a short time, thanks to the community support.
Yeah, our cabbage this year is blooming. It's huge. It was really good the last time that we ate some, and we were so shocked.
Momo with them. So there's our metaphor, you guys. So Momo is going to be so delicious this year because
everyone's been asking us when we're going to make Momo because our cabbage looks so good. So that's just another cultural aspect as well.
So we work so hard, and we're just to see the fruits of our labor is really exciting. We are so happy. And Matthew's saying,
and you're saying,
yes, but make sure you buy our food if you can. If you see us around, please
at
buy our food
at the farmer's market.
Won't regret
it. Buy our moo.
I have a question. I was wondering where people can come and buy your cabbage. What farmers markets are you going to be at?
So the farmers market, we just are going to be setting up a table. We got all that information in and found out what's involved.
Kamanchi's saying we might be adding the library in there too, because they have stands out by one of the libraries near us.
Butternut.
Right on Butternut. So, but that is supported by SOFSA. So that's really great. It's a great relationship to have. But right now at the local farmers market.
And one of the things that we think about, since we're so small, right? We have a leadership team of just 4 of us, and we have a small community. We really do want to keep, things moving and setting up more programs. We're very enthusiastic. Again, I just want to make a plug for the fact that, we are growing and expanding. We are very hard workers. So funding the Deaf New American Advocacy Group will not, no one will regret that. So our goal right now is to focus on the farm as a small farm, but we do want to expand. And so we want a food forest. With the concept of a food forest, in our vision is that what we would do, right now we have vegetables. So in the future that we'd be thinking about having fruit trees. So things, so that's the sustainable piece, right? And that will keep us expanding to be able to support our programming.
I have a question. Will you also be at the downtown market on Tuesdays?
Actually, we don't know about that. Could you tell us? We haven't seen it. We don't get downtown very often. We're on
Samanta's saying, I do know, I have seen that before, but where is that downtown? Manu's asking.
In Clinton Square. In Clinton Square, there's a downtown market that's every Tuesday from now into October. And I think like the vegetables that you're talking about from your farm, like I'm very interested. I like to cook different kinds of vegetables, and I know possibly there are others that would like to support you with your vegetables if they would let you have a spot downtown at the market, because that brings in a lot of people.
So if you want to share that information about how to have access to selling there, we'd really appreciate it. And one example, as you know, are the things that we miss out on, right? Because of communication barriers. Often, you know, we don't have access to what everybody else gets kind of incidentally, you know, because of the language difference and because of the sign language difference. So I think that's one of the things that we are constantly dealing with as a barrier, and we keep working to try to break those barriers down. With the empowerment that we've been experiencing and with the courage that we have already, I think we can probably make a good dent in some of those barriers.
And that's why we're being a part of these sorts of community events helps us gain access to that kind of information.
And this is Alex, not to interrupt, but I can help facilitate that conversation with the downtown committee, because I'm working with them right now. So I can reach out via email and we can make that happen.
Perfect.
Yeah, that would be awesome. Manu's just sending the information, telling the information to Jay. That would be great. And this is the first year that we've done the Laaya farm. And so our vision is kind of starting to lead its own way. We're not exactly sure necessarily what's happening in the future, but it's keeping a positive outlook and kind of going with the flow, seeing what the community needs and what other states maybe we want to have more people visit and learn. We think that's going to be a really great opportunity, but we're definitely open to other ideas. And that's actually how the state event started on June 25th. As people were asking us, where do we find a farm that we can kind of go to like this and get this education? So that's why we kind of set up this program. So we want to be able to be a supporter for other communities that want to set up this kind of community farming practice. And we know it's a process, and we know there's a lot of barriers, especially with communication, being deaf individuals. But we're hoping that in the future, once we are established here, we can kind of market ourselves as that sort of model. Did you want to add anything, Jay? Or Shamanti, did you want to add anything?
So I think, and this is Manu, I'll add to what we've been saying. The farm is definitely a work in progress, and we've made significant progress. It's not easy, but you know, we have the belief and the faith and the trust, and others do in us. And I think that and our motivation and enthusiasm keeps us going, and we're really, really excited. Again, our organization is fully volunteer, and so that is what we need, is to try to have an equal playing field in terms of being able to provide for staff and paying, you know, for equipment and doing what we need financially.
That's our goal in the future, is to be able to pay our staff eventually.
Would be great.
Can I just chime in quickly on the funding piece for 1 second? I know that we've talked about this with your team, but we do have, as part of our current USDA grant, SOFSA has some availability and capacity to support both grant writing and letters of support and other things like that for the various partners in our network. So not just you all, but anyone else on the call, especially if you don't have like a grant writer on your team or someone with lots of experience with that. We're very happy to do that. And Anna, who I think is on today's call, also helped with vetting a letter of support piece. So if you are applying for a grant and want a letter of support from SOFSA, I just put the form link in the chat, and anyone can request a letter of support, and we try to turn them around really quickly, so that, you know, just having a little bit of, you know, extra oomph alongside your application sometimes can be helpful. But happy to support anyone around their grant writing. So just reach out to our team.
Yes. That's great. But I do want to give, that's been an issue for us grant writing because of the English language. And of course, anybody who speaks English knows that writing a grant, filling out a grant application is really challenging. It's especially difficult for us, with the language barriers and the experiential barriers. So it's not accessible to us. We've had a lot of support, thank goodness, thanks to the, Community Foundation. And some programming through them. So we, getting through the actual process of writing an application is amazing, but we were able to write a few grants. There are that's another thing we actually want to be involved in is helping the grant writing process become more accessible because we know all about it. And, so I think we have so many ideas, these things that come up that we think, wow, this is another opportunity for us to model and help other communities who are struggling in this way. So it's all good.
We have a couple folks with questions or comments. So maybe Ash, do you want to jump in?
Hi, I'm Ash. Your project is so cool. It's so exciting to hear about. And the ability that y'all are, or the space that y'all are creating for deaf new Americans is so inspiring. And I hear that to be so central to the project. I'm wondering, with y'all being all volunteer run at this time, if there are ever kind of big tasks that y'all have, or like a lot of work that you would be interested in having, like a community work day where other folks were coming to the farm and just helping to get, some of that labor done, or if y'all are kind of wanting to maintain focus on this being a community specifically for deaf new Americans, like at this time.
Well, we're open. Yes. I mean, I think the idea is really good one. Maybe we can think about that for, it might be more for next season. I don't know. I think this year we're really focusing on, getting things established. But I do like the idea of talking about it. And of course, we are open and flexible. We appreciate anybody's time. You can email us. I think if you don't have our email and get it through SOFSA at this point. But, we have, I think another issue for us, of course, is having interpreters.
But we do have some volunteers that are able to provide that as well.
Because interpreters are accessible, make life accessible for deaf people, but also for hearing people, because they need access to the deaf person. So everybody then has access when interpreters are around. So that's a big piece too. Again, it includes funding, but we do have volunteers. So our deaf new Americans have family members who are hearing. So that's another issue. So they want to be involved. They need to support sometimes. They provide transportation. They, work together. So we also try to accommodate hearing Nepali speaking family members who are in the community. So we want to, make them feel welcome as well, welcome, and also provide interpreting for them. So.
Wonderful, thank you. Yeah, it totally makes sense that interpreter services is a big need to connect everyone to the deaf community. So yeah, that's awesome. I'd be super interested in a volunteer event in the future when y'all have capacity for that.
Yes, definitely. We'll keep talking about that. So, so I think our farm practice, the theme is that we really are a cultural farm. At this point, we are learning all the aspects of how to run a farm, and we're doing a kind of traditional Nepali, international way.
We've done Nepali farming, traditional farming practices, and Bhutan traditional farming practices. We don't have necessarily a person that's coming in and showing us exactly how things are done. So we are very flexible as well. And that's kind of the good thing about our organization, is the flexibility in how we implement our farming practices.
Galen has a hand up, I see.
Yes. Hi, guys. Thank you for joining us today. I run a big emergency food site in the city of Syracuse. And as you know, Syracuse is a sanctuary city. So we have many folk visiting us to access emergency foods that are from other countries. one of the things that the emergency food system is sorely lacking is culturally appropriate foods for all the folk that visit us. So as you think about your capacity and maybe join some of these amazing people in your grant writing or expansion, I just want to kind of lift up that there is a profound need in the emergency food system for culturally appropriate foods. And maybe something to think about as you move forward is joining in the emergency food system, where you could grow traditional foods that the folk that visit us would love to have, and we cannot get for them right now.
That sounds great. I actually would love to know more about that.
Sure.
It's new to us, and of course, you know, we would need to meet and talk about it.
Of course.
Yeah, I'm really open to anything like that. So right now we're doing some planting, and we're realizing that we have leftover crops. If we do have them, we wanted to make a plan for that. So we're going to be setting up a table, and we're actually happy if we wanted to link with emergency food to provide some free crops left over if it comes to that point, you know, if we do have
right.
So yeah, that would be a start, and I think aligning ourselves with that is a really good idea. So you know, there's local foods that we can
There's some local foods that local foods and traditional foods that we could kind of help guide on.
So yeah, so both.
I will add my information, my contact information into the chat, so we can talk sometime. We are very connected with Moira and Avalon and Anna, so we can talk more. I would love to show you around our place, introduce you to my partners, and show you the work that we do. But I'm very receptive to joining you guys in your work with emergency food distributions.
Great. And say your name again, please.
My name is Galen Murphy Stanley.
Oh my gosh.
It's very Irish. I will type it out.
Your interpreter is Trisha Schwartz, who knows you actually pretty well.
I'll get it written down for you all.
No problem. Thank you so much. That would be
Thanks,
great.
guys.
All right.
Awesome.
Also, another comment as well for just our organization that popped into my head. The farm that we have right now is people are asking us if we're going to be growing anything indoors, because right now it's just the summer. But we're trying to get connected with community programs and realizing that a lot of people in this area want local food.
So yes, I mean, what we're finding is that people have to travel to get culturally appropriate food. Sometimes they have to go down to New York City where they can get it in quantity, and the prices, of course, are very different. So we wanted to distribute our food kind of in an equitable way. So we're trying to work with some of the local markets here in Syracuse. And so instead of people having to go down to New York City, and we're talking about some of the market owners too. So we wanted to, you know, we were hoping to make it easier for a lot of different people, as well as talking about compost. You know, so the compost, people are giving us compost. And then what we'd like to do is have the Deaf American community be involved in making, you know, hats to put on your counter, so you can put compost materials in there. So that would be another way to raise money. So we'd partner with our community, we'd sell some of those containers, you know, and then people could give us
their old vegetables, their old scraps, and then we'd be able to make our own compost from that, kind of like a circular system.
Yeah, so composting and is a whole nother direction that we hope to be, you know, moving into. So I know there's a lot that we're sharing. We appreciate your attention. It is, again, a work in progress. We do not stop. Every day is super busy. And so I think, you know, we have goals in common among our organizations. For us, of course, communication, access is the biggest piece.
Wonderful. Are there any other questions from the group? All right. Well, thank you so much, Manu, Jay, and Shmati. We're really appreciative of having you and the opportunity to hear about your work.